Basically, this AMA session would be focused on the update 0.2.12, and the focal point of the discussion will be around the multi-model POC. I believe that Gleb and David will go through the main aspects, as the great proposal is quite vast and there is a lot to speak about. And at the end of the discussion, we will be able to address the questions that will be raised in the chat. So without further ado, I'm giving the floor to the guys.
Great to be with all of you. So this upgrade is quite important. I think community waited for it for a long time, and it's a result of work of multiple independent teams within the community, which should enable Gonka to run multiple models in at the same time. Recent latest frontier open-weighted models like Kimi 2.6 or Minimax 2.7 and similar models. Multiple efforts, like parallel efforts of different teams were involved to make it possible. One which you likely already heard about, the upgrade of VLM is a main inference framework which Gonka use, and in this framework was crucial to enable the latest models. Since the project was launched in August last year, it wasn't updated. That's why the latest models weren't supported by Gonka protocol. But because Gonka protocol uses modified VLM, it was multiple issues which haven't allowed us to make the upgrade to the latest version, which was solved by an effort of different members of community. If you are one of the hosts, please make sure that you will upgrade your ML nodes with the latest presented VLM. Otherwise, you won't be able to support the latest models. At the same time, as some of you remember, if you joined the community in the beginning, that we actually had the support of multiple models originally. But when the PoC protocol was changed to be based not on a separate PoC model, how it was originally, but based on the currently run models, previous mechanism stopped being relevant, and it was needed to develop a new protocol for multiple models to be supported. Mainly because now, when, for example, your hosts, your ML nodes prove their work, they do it with the model you run. So now, if different ML nodes are actually responsible for different models, they all should prove their work based on different models, which is leading to a problem of how they can validate work of each other if they cannot just switch between models. Models, they occupy hundreds of gigabytes of video memory and RAM, and it takes quite a bit of time to switch between models. So we cannot just switch in between models and verify other participants. So we needed to have a protocol when if you have different ML nodes which can run different models, you will use your voting power to validate participants of different models. Or if you don't, you will need to delegate your voting power during POC process, so that other participants which run other models can be validated as well. So this made the protocol quite a bit complex. And this change is introduced in the version which will be proposed for the voting soon. One important thing to mention that all models are different. Kimi, Minimax, or DeepSeek, or OpenAI OSS, they all different. That's why results which of performance of the hardware which produced by those models are not the same. So they always will be a little bit different. Directionally, they should be the same, but the result likely will be different. And so even though we need to use a single multiplier, like for example, if your node runs the Quen model, which we all right now use, then, for example, you will produce 200 nonces. Your node will produce 200 nonces during POC, which represent your power. When you see on dashboards the weights of your node, this is how your node power represented. At the same time, if you will run, for example, Kimi 2.6, it will generate, if the same hardware will generate a different amount of nonces due to the different size of the models or different architecture of the models. So to make it fair, we need to have a multiplier which will normalize the weights. So it seems an easier problem. We just run hundreds of tests, we'll measure the nonces, and we'll measure power, nonces which represent the power of the same hardware on different models, and we'll just have a single multiplier. But unfortunately, if you use different models on different hardware, the results will not be consistent on different hardware. For example, some models will be much faster on B200 than other models, or some models will be faster on H200 while other models will give the same results with H200 compared to H100. That's actually what which will happen right now during the upgrade and during the addition of the first frontier models. For example, Quen used to give us almost the same result on H100, H200, B200. And it actually led to many hosts stop renting B200s or using B200s and switching to H100 in the network, because it started to be unprofitable to use B200 compared to H100. So it actually was fixed with introduction of latest VLM. So without any change of the protocol, just because latest VLM support all the optimizations which Blackwell architecture of NVIDIA has. Now, if you actually will use the latest VLM, and if you use B200, it actually will give you much better performance than H100. So even though B200 hardware costs more, but it actually will be highly profitable. And it actually a great news, because we do all want the network to move towards more and more powerful hardware to be involved, because it will make the network more valuable. And through this prism, it will also make the value of the coin high, because it will represent the better inference results. So, but for example, with Qwen, even with the latest model, H200 is still not drastically different results. It will be kind of it is kind of H100, then H200 gives a little bit more results, and B200 give like several times more power. But with Kimi, with introduction of Kimi, the ratio won't be the same. So actually, H200 is actually much closer to B200 if you compare the ratio with Qwen. So in this, we'll create different strategies where hosts will decide to pick some models because they will give a better yield on their hardware. In general, I would say that still it is as it is. So we cannot do much with that, and we definitely all want to see more frontier models on the network, so that people who use agents will actually be excited to use the API of Gonka. And at the same time, we all want to see more powerful hardware joining the network. But still, it can create some discrepancies. It can create some strategies of hosts which can make the process not 100% fair among all the participants. So, and we, through this prism, we got some feedback from different great community members that proposing different changes which might address these discrepancies. And the main proposal was around making the rewards and making the tokens, like the newly issued token subsidy distribution, based rather on demand of developers than just pure performance measurements. So we wanted to also use the opportunity to discuss this because we understand that it would be great for more community members to kind of dig deeper in the problems which the protocol solves, but also with the reasoning behind solutions which were introduced. So one important thing is that it is a good observation that demand-based approaches can be better in some cases. But what's important is that they only work when first the utilization of hardware is close to 100%. Because if the utilization of hardware even like at 10 or 20%, it is quite easy to actually game the ratio and to actually for some miners to get the advantage just because they can game the system. It is true that it will be hard to game if those requests will be pricey. The potential attacker will just need to spend too much resources on that change. But the way blockchains work, the proof of work blockchain works, similar to Bitcoin, we actually all benefit from the fact that new tokens are issued, and that subsidy in the initial stage of the network is a crucial part of the rewards of miners, of hosts. So for example, when Bitcoin network only started, 99% of the rewards were not from fees, which were paid by regular users who transacted over Bitcoin, but actually by newly minted Bitcoins, which were attached to block, so-called block rewards. And this is the same case for Gonka. Like any early protocol, before years will pass and before halving will happen like multiple times, when the reward, like block rewards, or in our case is epoch reward, will shrink over time. So before it will happen, we all actually benefit, like all hosts benefit from getting a higher epoch reward, which is essentially subsidizing the growth of the network on early stages. So in this case, the subsidy likely will be much higher. The additional minted token rewards will be much higher than the fees paid by developers for foreseeable years. And when we have that, the anti-block, anti-spam systems will not work properly, because it will be profitable to just push some request towards the model which you support, giving the advantage, unfairly distributing the eventual epoch rewards and negatively affecting other miners. That's why it's really important to have the unbiased benchmarks, similarly to what we have in with our PoC proof of compute system, which makes it clear who contributed what kind of hardware, and which distribute rewards based on that. Still, we do agree that that it's important to introduce the protocol which will eventually make the distribution depends on the demand. But this mechanism will likely still be subject to a state of the network when utilization is high, and when the fees reward, work reward is actually high percentage of the total reward of the miners. Before that, the protocol should be, we need to keep protocol be based on the unbiased benchmarks. Moreover, PoC benchmarks, they have a lot of layers of security from the attempts to game the results. When we talk about just general developer usage, it will be harder to secure it. Why? For example, if I am at the same time one of the hosts and one of the developers, I can try to game the regular requests by just sending requests with same prefix. And because my ML nodes will know exactly that this request will be sent to the network, I can have it in Kiwi cache. So for me, the work will be much easier. So that's where PoC stands out, because PoC actually don't allow any disadvantage like that. Eventually, when the price of sending this request with prefixes or with other strategies will be too high to use in your advantage, it's right that this approach can be used. But before that, we still need the unbiased, secure benchmarks. So which actually is PoC. And because at the same time, we really, all of us want to see different models. Kimi for your agents, or Minimax for your coding tools. We need to find a balance between having the single benchmark and having the capabilities of the network. And that's what introduced in the next upgrade, where we do, all of us, all the hosts will still run the benchmarks. But these benchmarks will depend on the model which you run, and the protocol will try to make the best effort to align the results of these benchmarks to be as unbiased as possible. But still, we will see some discrepancies. And likely to address the issues that some miners can try to game it by just choosing the models which are more profitable, the likely we all need to introduce additional protocol which will make it random which host will be responsible for which models. Unfortunately, we won't be able to make it 100% random because your hardware likely will not support all the models out there. For example, you don't have enough memory. So there will be some limitations, but still scheduling it was proposed originally even in the first versions of Gonka, but likely it will be in one of the next upgrade proposals to actually introduce the scheduling, because also it will make easier for miners to maintain it, so that you don't need to actually run additional commands when some new models are actually introduced by governance. So that's where we are. Gleb, maybe you want to add something. Also, it would be great if you mentioned some teams who worked on the or individual contributors who worked on the upgrades. I know that we won't be able to mention everyone, but still really grateful for all of your contribution.
Yeah, so first of all, what I would add that if this upgrade with multi-model PoC will be applied, so how it works in next couple epochs, it will be 3 epochs after the upgrade happens. The new model will be activated on chain, and it is important that all miners will have to make a decision what they do with new model group. So they should all contribute their hardware and start mining for this model 2. or to delegate their voting power for this specific model to validate POC results for this specific model to someone else. And that's kind of quite important decision, and it will require some manual transaction to be sent on chain. Like my node will vote in next model exactly like some another host. Yeah, so we going to add instruction for this upgrade branch, but please think about it and please investigate it. That should be done before model activated. About the contributors. So again, thank you very much, teams who helped with VLM and experimented a lot with measurement of different POC weights and migration to different versions of VLM. So right now there is even a version of VLM 0.19.1. So it's Kaitaku AI team who made a lot of experiments. I think there were a lot of such contributors from previous upgrade. Yeah, we already mentioned it. Yes. David, do you want to cover something else, or should we
Yes, so
switch
there are
to-
some questions in the chat. So one question is on training. So personally, we really excited about making training part of the protocol. And if you read the original white paper, it was there in the code for training capabilities. Actually, was in repo from very first days of the network. The reason why it's not there, why it's not used, is we all would hope for, is that to make it really verifiable, so that like we all, like when we participate in decentralized networks, the hardest part of the protocol is that we cannot trust anyone. None of us can. So we should trust the protocol, but we shouldn't trust particular participants. So-called trustless systems. And for training is quite an issue to make it possible to verify that the work of every participant is truthful. So for inference is not an easy task, and the big portion of the efforts of everyone who contributes to the code in the community is to make it possible for inference, but for training is much harder. So it's discussed right now that based on what the work which was done for multi-models, as well as the work which was done with depth charts, will likely additional protocol would be introduced, which will allow researchers to run training without explicitly setting the validation protocol. So the researchers by themselves will be responsible for the verification. And it seems to be...
Yeah, I would rephrase it a little bit that it's not only about verification. Verification can still be added, but it's important to move this logic from mainnet. Because if you remember when Gonka only started, there were certain capabilities of training from which worked on testnet but never activated on mainnet. And the big issue is that any changes in mainnet logic is quite complicated. It's long process to introduce them because they have to be properly tested. And David mentioned with depth charts example, for training, there are good chance to enable such experiments, including verification or not including verification fully off-chain. So such logic of verification will be might be introduced not on the mainnet itself, but the same style like dev shards, when anyone can make quite simple system which communicates, well, just ML nodes communicates directly to agree on some values to make some training, and with mainnet it might communicate only to allocate hardware for such experiment, and then to settle result of such experiment to grant reward to hardware which participate into this. Right now, there's discussion that such approach might enable training independently of the main upgrade cycle, and different researchers can just ask community to allocate resources, hardware for their experiment, and then make such experiment without introducing any new code to the main repo, to the mainnet. So these iterations of training can be much shorter than, for example, this iteration of this upgrade for multimodal support.
Yeah, so another question about lowering the barriers of entry. Actually, there are multiple teams which introduce solutions for one-liner installation. I would offer you to look at works, for example, of ICN4 team. They did great job, so that it's really like a CLI, which allow you to install the miner software just with simple script. Definitely it would be great to see more of such tools introduced by the community. In terms of cost barrier, what we see that likely the only way to lower the barrier is actually to have more pools, and we already have more great pools out there when some of the participants of the network, they allow others to buy share of their Gonka incomes. Please be careful, because unfortunately any intermediators introduce some risks, and we already have heard some bad stories that someone is trying to cheat, does some schemes which to actually fraud participants. Don't trust anyone that they told you that they somehow connected with us and that's why they're important and that's why they have some additional access. We don't endorse any pools or any systems, and we don't build ours. So please be careful. There are really great pools out there. Ask the community. You will likely get some recommendations, and some of them already exist in the network for months. So it's also can be a good indicator. But still, like, do your due diligence when you want to join a pool, and try to ask around in Discord groups, and to make sure that the people you deal with are trustful. Unfortunately, most of the pools, they are not based on trust lists systems. They are not kind of on-chain, so they require someone to be trusted. But there are great pools out there which gathered hundreds of people, and they pool the funds, and that's how they were able to rent out the GPUs. Actually, the testnet is, I think, currently does support customer GPUs. I'm not sure, but it's much smaller model is run on testnet.
It requires like 16 gigabytes of VRAM right now.
And also there is a great initiative of some community members to actually make the testnet also funded by the community pool, so that people who participate in testnet also can get some rewards. Follow this likely, I don't know whether proposal already made or it will be made by the team which designed this. But I heard that there is such initiative, and it will be great because right now everyone who participates in testnet they just do it for the good of everyone without having any rewards. But testnet does help a lot in making sure that upgrades are smooth. So from agent run on Cocoon, so there are multiple decentralized AI projects out there, and so we actually really encourage everyone to try it out, try different networks. Like Bitensor is the most known one. Why we actually usually propose like hosts to try out different networks, because personally we're quite confident that Gonka from this perspective is the best protocol. So if you are a GPU owner and you will try to connect to Cocoon network, you will earn almost nothing right now. If you connect to Bitensor, you earn like twice as less. Because in all of these networks, the rewards are not given to providers of hardware, but it's given to stakers of those networks. What it does, that it's quite expensive for hosts to participate. That's why in these networks, you usually will see much less GPUs than in Gonka network. But also, if the hardware is not subsidized with coins, it means that the developers will not get it cheaper as well. So we truly believe that the approach of Gonka protocol is much superior to that, and we hope the time will show it. Gensyn has a similar issue. It's a proof of stake network, so we'll see. So far, they don't achieve some big results. They definitely have the support of A16Z, and they have some marketing, but from technological perspective and the real infrastructure joins the network, they it doesn't seem to be the best choice, but we'll see. Definitely, the Gonka protocol will win a lot from more general awareness, other potential users of the network. We actually had several proposals by the community to support the project with marketing activities and to use some community funds, community pool funds to do that. Some of these proposals were supported, some of them unfortunately weren't supported. I really encourage everyone to participate in voting for proposals, even if you disagree, but it's really important to participate, because it's really important that like all the teams which submit the proposals, they try hard. Yeah, so they usually actually prepare and try hard, and when some proposals get only like 2% of votes, it's really discouraging for people to actually come to our community and help and to contribute. So I really want to use this opportunity to ask every host that it's really important to participate in the vote in the voting process for proposals, even if you believe that it's not right choice for the network. But please vote, and please then be responsible for the results. So If you, for example, decide that it's not the right thing to use community fund to bring more YouTube audience, then don't like ask yourself why more people still don't know about the project. So it's all connected and it all depends on each of you. The project is run by governance. It's run by this voting process. All the resources which projects have locked on the community pool account and should be spent from community pool account. So I would say that all of us should expect that if like kind of estimate that if we don't use at least like million Gonka a month from community pool, it means we likely fail in the project. We likely don't use enough resources to push the project forward. Look at this from this perspective. And I know that some hosts, some miners are afraid that it will dilute everyone. But please remember that miners get 10 million Gonka coins a month right now. So even if community pool will actually use like 1 million a month, which will be like great expansion of what community can actually do and can achieve, it will be just 10% of the newly the coins which join circulation. But if we don't do that, if you see like that the community pool just spent like 50K or 100K a month, it means that we don't use the opportunity. Like if you believe that the proposals are not great, make your own proposals. Like talk with other miners to coordinate and to enable like better marketing that was proposed by some community members. But if we just don't use this resource, it's likely will like negatively affect outcomes for all of us.
There is a question about what will drive project faster. Essentially, David just answered to one side of this. Yes, more people should try to access resources, should try to contribute by their own to project. It's not only our team, it's a lot technical teams in community, and let's parallelize, let's work on different stuff, both to core protocol, but also to infrastructure around. And that's one point. And second point is in last upgrades and this upgrade, there are a lot of efforts to separate certain parts of system. For example, this dev shards. Starting from this upgrade, dev shard can be updated, software can be changed separately from the mainnet. So it will not require risky operation when chain just restarts, when all validators at the same block restart their node. It won't be required for the upgrade of dev shard software. And additionally, several versions of dev shard software can be supported in parallel. What it means that utilization, ability chain to utilize GPU right now depends only on dev shard. It means that different teams who can improve their shards can do it in parallel, can propose multiple versions, make more experimental versions, and just propose to, for example, version 2 can work with in parallel with version 1, and they can be developed fully in parallel. So we hope that such proposal will make iterations shorter, upgrades shorter, and will provide ability to involve more teams in this. And again, I think there's a great opportunity to reuse such idea for training to move faster in this direction also.
So it is looking for the next question of how to ensure that miners don't only think about themselves in their current issues as miners, but also they think about the whole ecosystem development. I actually do believe that miners' interests, like hosts' interests, are quite aligned with the ecosystem development. They actually invest the most in the project. So I think that currently more than like $3-4 million a month invested in the infrastructure by hosts. And they get in JNKs in exchange. So they all should be quite interested in making sure that ecosystem is growing and the participation of developers is growing, and the projects the project has better marketing. So I hope that this alignment should lead to miners participating more in the proposals which are made in the community. So before that, we heard that the voting process was too short. So actually, some community members proposed to increase it to 2 days. This proposal actually passed, and the change is introduced. But you're right that not always participation is on the level which we all would want to have. So from this perspective, I do hope that miners will participate more. And that's why I mentioned this kind of mental framework that if we're not spending millions a month of Gonka coins from community pool, miners should understand that they haven't done enough. And there are a lot of questions whether, like, for example, when some proposals out there, some miners ask if it is the best proposal, or if we shouldn't find a better, like, for example, a better team to execute. But I would say we would better think about that when we will reach enough resources flowing to the community. Otherwise, it will be just hard to accelerate the process, hard to invite like stronger teams. But in some cases, we see really strong teams come into the community. Like, for example, there were recently a proposal from ICN4. It's quite reputable blockchain development team. So you can easily Google them and find the founder, see that CZ is following the founder. So like it's quite legit, and you can check it by yourself. But for example, their proposal got like just 2%. If we will just every time like that, when some great team introduced themselves to the community and made a proposal, and we don't support this proposal, we actually losing the opportunity. Same was with the Soul Publishing. It is actually one of the largest YouTube networks with like 3 billion views every month, and they actually they were really excited about the project. They came to our community, made a proposal to bring 400 million views to various YouTube channels for the project, and the proposal weren't supported by the community. I would say that this is one of the things which I really would encourage community to think more about. That we definitely haven't made enough to ensure the ecosystem grow fast, because we haven't used the resource which is out there to make it possible, and we haven't supported the different reputable teams to come and to help all of us to grow the project. So still, I understand that at some moment when we already would spend like more than million Gonka in months, we will need to all like rethink and to have better systems to detect who is reputable, who is not, and to choose in between, to make competition and things like that. But we are not on the stage yet. We are growing ecosystems, so please participate in voting process for the proposal. Even if you believe that it shouldn't be supported, just vote no, so that the signal would be out there, and the teams which made the proposal won't feel that just they're not supported by us. Yes, Gonka Labs, they did a great job. I'm not sure that Gonka Labs had already proposals. That's I was mentioning the proposals which were recently out there for vote, but Gonka Labs definitely contributed in many other teams still. I don't. I definitely will miss someone and will not mention someone on the calls.
About question penalties to host who doesn't perform inferences. It's now works already. There's some certain threshold, so there's some level of missed inference which can be skipped, but then hosts just don't get in reward if they skip too many inferences.
And it's
same
all
mechanism.
parameters of the network. So if he believes that the parameters can be adjusted, still a proposal can be made, and host can vote on these proposals. Currently, this threshold is higher than we would expect in kind of final state of the network, but it was put there just because there was previously a lot of attacks and
Issues
events,
with
which
time.
issues which led to a higher than expected miss rate of honest nods. So I hope that eventually community will lower down this threshold. But yes, so the hosts which are missing the inference request, they actually punished and they don't get reward. I think that we are out of time. Till the upgrade is already out there. You can see PR in the GitHub. You actually can participate, review. It's all like all the development is done openly by the community. You can see the features which are developed in issues in GitHub. So you can actually jump in and offer your participation, and also just see what is coming. It's all out there. It's all being discussed. The upgrade likely will be proposed soon. It includes a list of all people who participated and the relevant rewards for those people from the community pool. So please note that you also can participate and be rewarded by the community. And only together we will actually make this project prosper.
Thank you very much, David and Gleb. The last thing that I want to again mention, as was mentioned several times, please vote. Abstain is a great option to put your opinion out there. So yeah, that's the only thing that I wanted to mention, is because it's the end of the session. We're out of time. Thank you again for your questions. And as I mentioned, very shortly, the recording of the session itself will appear on the Discord server together with the Russian subtitles, so we can expand the amount of audience that will be able to understand us. Thank you again, and I wish you a great day and evening, depending on where you are. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank